Hello, we are live from not a great hotel near Kiev, about half an hour away. But if you hear some music in the background, that comes from there's a swimming pool and there's a bar, and they put the speakers very loud with music from like 10 in the morning, even though there is no people in it until about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Anyway, we all get woken up and we have our breakfast, and in the last 2 days the temptation has been to go to the pool, but instead I had to go to town and deal with the Champions League final. The pool may come later today though. Now there's so much to talk about, and I would like to hear from you. For instance, Yamax starts with, is it going to be a Neymar Ronaldo swap deal? And Wing from FC saying Bale, is he leaving? Let's start with that one. I was at the mix zone when Cristiano Ronaldo came on and stopped in 2 different parts with the televisions and then with the Spanish radios. I was there, and he basically sent different messages. We've all heard what he said on the pitch, that, yep, it was great to play for Real Madrid. He went, obviously, to celebrate and then to the changing rooms, and he was told by Sergio Ramos that that was not a good thing to say on a day like today. Surprisingly enough, even his entourage didn't know that he was actually going to talk like that and say those things on such a day as well. It's his 5th Champions League win. It's the 3rd consecutive of Zidane. It's the 4th in 5 years. It's the 13th for Real Madrid. Fantastic achievement, and we can talk about that later because it's a mystery in a way how they do it, but it isn't in another way. Anyway, so when he stopped with us, he actually started talking a little bit different. He was saying, perhaps I didn't choose my moment right, but I don't feel sorry for having said it. And then we started inquiring, well, why did you say it? And he said, well, it's not the right time to talk, and I will talk soon. I'll go with the national side and I'll have my say. So he's preparing a press conference in the next few days in which he's going to, if he eventually talks, he's going to say that he wants more from Real Madrid. Would he actually tell the truth? Because he does say, I'm saying this because I'm so honest, but actually he hasn't been speaking fully about why he's so upset. Right, the story is, after the last Champions League final, Real Madrid went to him, Florentino Perez, that is, and said, we'll renew your contract. But that hasn't happened in the previous 12 months. And in fact, there was delays in terms of when to meet. This is Jose Angel Sanchez, the number 2 at the club, and Jorge Mendes, his agent. They met a month ago. But before that, there were indications. I didn't fall, it was just the laptop. I will show you, but I'll show you where it's all standing. See, that's a box. That bottle of wine has been there for 3 days before you say anything. Not drinking it. It's 150 thingies. Anyway, not drinking it. So, after the promise from Florentino Perez, Cristiano Ronaldo expected a different kind of answer. But in the last 12 months, what has actually happened is that Florentino has been flirting with the idea of Neymar coming to Real Madrid, even on the day that Cristiano Ronaldo got his Ballon d'Or. Wrong thing to say in the eyes of Cristiano Ronaldo, and perhaps he is right. But there's more than that. Florentino Perez would like Neymar to go to Real Madrid, and in his way, he's trying, via the media, putting pressure. A lot of stories that have been told about the relationship between Emery and Neymar, for instance, don't come from either side. But it comes mostly in the Spanish press. So the suggestion is that there's a campaign in place to actually get Neymar to Real Madrid. But PSG are saying no chance, no chance. This is very important because if PSG say there's no chance, there's no chance. There's no buyout clause. Okay? But Florentino Perez has got in his mind, and this is also Real Madrid. No feeling towards the players, no matter how big they are. So if Cristiano Ronaldo wants to go, he can go. But it's 1 billion would be euros in his buyout clause, which means that actually it's not his choice to leave. It will have to be Real Madrid. Last time, both Florentino and Ronaldo came head to head about this, and something Ronaldo said last night in the middle of his conversation with us was that when he was asked, "Have you talked to the president about this?" He says, "No, but he wouldn't anyway." Because the last time Florentino Perez heard from Ronaldo, this is about 4 years ago, that he wanted to leave, Florentino said, "Bring the money that I need to buy Messi, and then you can go." Which, of course, again, I think it was said on purpose to hurt, possibly, and Ronaldo didn't take it lightly. He doesn't feel the love of the president. Remember that Florentino Perez was not the man who signed him, it was Ramon Calderon, and that is in the back of the mind of Florentino, perhaps as much as Cristiano. Anyway, the meeting in the last 4 weeks with Cristiano's agent and Real Madrid had there was a clear proposal on the table, which was that yes, the wages will be increased, but a lot of it will depend and could be increased to 30 to 35 million euros, when actually Neymar and Messi earn more still, but he's 33, Cristiano. Anyway, a lot of it would have to do with targets, individual, Ballon d'Or and the best awards, but also collective, Champions League, the league and so on. And Cristiano didn't like that. So he's actually complaining about all of it. There's more, of course. Do you know that he's had problems with the taxman and he will have to pay about 14 million euros to the taxman? He would like Real Madrid to pay that as part of the next deal, like a sign-on fee. That pressure is put so he gets more money from Real Madrid. There's no argument about that. I don't think he's got a solution of where to go next. Of course, if he becomes available, then maybe an auction, but I don't think he's got anything. He's just putting Real Madrid under pressure. But Florentino Perez, as I say, who doesn't marry any player whatsoever, he actually is thinking, you know what, if I get the money for Cristiano Ronaldo, 150, and I get 150 from Bale, that's 300 million that I could use to buy Neymar. Not that he can, according to PSG, but that's what he's starting to think. So that's the Cristiano Ronaldo situation. Swap deal with Neymar. That could be interesting. It has already been mentioned in the press. The PSG are saying, we don't want Neymar to go. And Tuchel believes, after the meeting he had, I think a week on Sunday, was that Neymar is going to stay. That's never guaranteed, even though he may be under contract, because this year he's had a difficult year. Difficult year in the standards of a professional football player. He feels that he needs everything to go smoothly. He's not completely convinced about Paris as a city and Paris Saint-Germain as a club. But you know what? When he was at Barcelona, in his first season, he also struggled and wanted to leave. So when it's interesting that an elite player like him, who go through so many obstacles to take him to where they are, actually in the first moment of big struggle at the club, both at Barcelona and PSG, he wants to leave. Now, Tuchel is convinced that he's convinced Neymar to stay. PSG doesn't want to sell him, no buyer clause. So again, it's all in the hands of PSG. So we'll see how this finishes, perhaps with a contract renewal for Cristiano Ronaldo that keeps him happy. Right now is the most likely possibility, but not the only one. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. On Gareth Bale, I've known for a while two things. One, Gareth Bale has been telling to the Real Madrid that he wants to stay. Real Madrid have been telling him that they want him to stay. But as soon as Bale comes out of the room, Real Madrid has been telling a different story. They've been thinking of the possibility of selling him. And that has got to Gareth Bale, of course. Now, he felt it was the right time to do it. And in the case of Cristiano, he's been criticized by the president of Real Madrid, publicly as well, and the players privately and publicly as well. Sergio Ramos gave him a little bit of a smack in the hand. In the case of Gareth Bale, the understanding is almost by everybody that perhaps he shouldn't have said it, but it was a right time, and he had it all in himself. And the reason why is because you saw the quality he's got, right? He doesn't understand why he doesn't start games like this. He doesn't understand why he hasn't played more often this season. He doesn't understand it fully. I know from Zidane's camp that he is upset. Zidane is a little bit upset with him because of his reaction to being substituted or to be on the bench. Um, he's not completely happy with his attitude that way. But Gareth Bale feels he's a top 5 player in the world and should be playing. So there is a division there, and how they sort that out will be key. He may end up with Gareth Bale staying at Real Madrid. He may end up, as he said, with him moving. And it goes back to the idea, if Florentino Perez gets the money for him that he wants, maybe he opens the door, in which case then he goes for Neymar. But that is if Neymar is available. Too many ifs and buts right now. So with that in mind, Gareth Bale had said what he said, but I think he's disappointed with the club, a little bit disappointed with Zidane and his decisions, disappointed even with the medical department that did not recover him fully at the right time. It took a while, and perhaps some mistakes were made. So there's all that in the back of Gareth Bale's mind, and that's why he said the things that he said to the world media. It was, in his eyes, the right time to say it. With those, we're gonna, as I say, keep a close eye on it, because this is just the beginning of a long story, of course. Gareth Bale will go on holidays and will let his agents to deal with absolutely everything. Now, Ramos purposely injured Salah, says I win from KFC. And I will never, ever accept that. I know it's been 2 or 3 cases in history, admitted by some of them, Roy Keane, for instance. But see again what happened in that move. Sergio Ramos is the last defender, and Salah was just overtaking him. So Ramos just got hold of him and pushed him down. A foul, a yellow card, which would have been key to injure him on purpose. If you think that's what professional footballers are like, guys that train every day, train with other players, one day you're here, one day you're there, on purpose. That's the kind of thing that somebody that doesn't understand football would say, and I know that a lot of people are saying it. They are upset, of course, and you know it hurts what has happened in Kiev to Liverpool fans. Sergio Ramos, I know him. Doesn't excuse him. He injured Mo Salah. Cases where he's injured others because he goes very, very strong. On purpose, never. No way. There were even suggestions on Twitter by big names saying that that's the case. I will never, ever accept that. And if you understand how football works, what's behind the effort that these players do, you will understand that that way of thinking is not possible. But it was key. It was absolutely key that Mo Salah disappeared, because you could see how the team just went down, became smaller, dropped deeper. But what was interesting, of course, is there were moments after that, and it was going always to be that kind of game in which Liverpool raced to the occasion. When Karius makes the first mistake and Benzema's goal, just a few minutes later there is the corner in the Liverpool end, and the roar from the fans. It was like, "Come on, guys, just give us more," and they scored. And the reaction from the players is what Klopp wanted from them the whole game, of course, and that style is difficult to get for 90 minutes. But they were biting, they were aggressive, but with control. They wanted the ball back, and when they had it, they did a lot of good things. But then, of course, the Gareth Bale goal just again killed that momentum. But don't forget, not only the season. Don't even go back to that, Liverpool fans. Actually, don't forget the first 35 minutes of the game. It was fantastic from Liverpool. Can you continue on that form? Can you improve on it? Because it was fantastic. It was a clear idea what they had to do, wanting the ball back. I realized that Real Madrid were attacking down the wings at the beginning, trying to unsettle the fullbacks. But they were helped. They were helped by Milner on the left, by Henderson, and by Wijnaldum, even by Mane and Salah. It was a very good collective performance to that point. But of course, 90 minutes gives you a lot more. You need a lot more, and that's the question that I was asking my colleagues. I went for dinner after with some of the biggest brains in Spanish journalism and writing, and we were trying to find out, how does Real Madrid do this? Because, by the way, it's not just they've been lucky, they had referees' decisions in their favour. They had injuries to Mo Salah, to Boateng, to Ribéry, to Neymar. And in key moments, their individual quality has made the difference. It's to write a book, actually. How does Real Madrid do this? Because it's not down to the daily work in training, which then converts in collective work, and everybody's doing it for everybody. There's not so much of that, because if there was, they would do better in the league. But in the bigger occasions, and we know people like that in the big days, in the big nights, people just rise to the occasion. That's what Real Madrid does. By getting the best players around, what you get is winners that want more and more and more. And the fact that the likes of Florentino Perez, but also the fans of Real Madrid do not accept anybody to think that they're bigger than the club, including Cristiano Ronaldo, puts everybody in their place. But also when you get Modric saying, in the first few months I was whistled, when you get Zidane being whistled, when you get both Ronaldos being questioned, that means that everybody's got to raise the level, otherwise they have to go. That's Real Madrid. So that is something that's unique in football, completely unique in football. They forget, I'm giving you a few more clues of what we were discussing last night. They forget the defeats. They forget the difficult times. No, they forget the defeats, and they forget the bad negative dynamics. But they learn from their mistakes and try not to commit them again. And when things go wrong, they suffer. So the way they were defending yesterday, when Liverpool were attacking in the burst in the second half, but especially in the first 35 minutes, defending of Real Madrid, look at that. It was like in a playground. Everybody tracking back and getting to the box and getting in the middle of shoots. That's not really the defending of a top team, not really. But they managed to storm the bad weather and go through it. So I don't know. Some will admire that, and some will feel that it's all down to money. Well, it's not down to money anymore, because the likes of Manchester United have got more money than Real Madrid, and they're not showing those kind of signs, not yet anyway. So weather the storm. Thank you very much. And Theatre 23. Can Liverpool build on this season? I'm sure they can. This is what they're doing. This is part of what they're doing. It's a process. And I don't know who said the boring word of process. Boring. That's what it is all about. Life is about process. Football is about process. Should be. Apart from Real Madrid, which is a completely different thing, as we were just saying. But they have to build from it. Does that mean that they, to improve, they have to now finish second in the league and win the Champions League? No, it means that they have to be competitive in both. And they have to learn from the mental strength and quality of what they have on the pitch. So that means that, yes, they need a goalkeeper. And on Karius, I think we are in a different era to, say, 10 years ago, where it was not fashionable, to put it in one way, to actually talk about the difficulties of being an elite player and the mental stresses that they're going through. Now we hear the likes of Paul Merson talking about it and how hard it was for him. Tony Adams has done it in the past. We know what happened to Robert Enke, of course. The stresses are something that, yes, they have to live with, and a lot of people will say, well, they earn money, so what? I see people earning a lot of money, yes, but I see people with their same difficulties that we have. But the ones that have actually managed to get to the top, they've gone through a lot of steps to get to where they are to, and those steps have made them stronger. And in fact, they don't go through filters if they're not strong. So for Karius to be in the lineup of Liverpool in the Champions League means that he's gone through a lot since he started playing football as a 5-6-year-old, started being a goalkeeper. And he has beaten all those filters to get to where he is. You can explain both goals. I'm sure you can. I'll try to. They are huge mistakes. I'm not justifying the mistakes, but listen to me. The first one, the style of Klopp means that you have to accelerate everything you do. You have to do it quickly, because if you do, you get to the other end quicker. You get to the ball to the midfielders quicker, who then turn and feed the strikers who will use the space that has been left, because especially Real Madrid doesn't strike well. When you do things quickly, you cannot make any mistakes, and Karius did a huge one. So I'm not saying it's down to the style. I'm saying it's part of the style to actually react very quickly. And in the case of Karius, he reacted quickly, but he did not do it with quality. So the second one, is a ball that does swerves a little bit. But the problem is the Real Madrid players knew that, and certainly Bale knew that and went for it. Knew also of the weaknesses of Karius and went for it to see a wishful ball, and just it went in. Great reaction from the fans in Tufel, you don't like my talking, you can just go. It's as simple as that, just go. There's other things to do, of course. Now, the reaction of the fans in the stadium were fantastic. They clapped him. They showed them their support. It took them a while for the players to actually get close to him, but anyway, they eventually did. First, it was Real Madrid players, but defeat and victory, they're all part of this game. Mistakes, they're all part of this game. They're all made mistakes. But of course, it really is harder when you are a goalkeeper and in a final. It does tell you of the mental strength of Karius, his reaction as well. It does tell you that Liverpool needs another goalkeeper, but that's the kind of thing you find out in games like this. And there's a lot of things that the club would have learned. So yes, they have to actually continue in this process, but it doesn't guarantee you trophies. It guarantees you learning from the mistakes and keep improving. And I'm sure Liverpool will. To win the league, there's a big task. Manchester City will continue improving too. So we will see. We'll talk about the Premier League match much later in the summer, and just before it all starts. Because by the way, this YouTube channel will continue growing as well. We're trying to do more things in it, and I hope you enjoy them. There is more stuff that I haven't used yet on the way to the World Cup. I spoke to Roberto Martinez. I actually spoke with Bill Bessick, which is a sports psychologist, and it's a fascinating conversation. But you know what? I filmed it, and I didn't do it properly. I had the phone in one side and the iPad on the other side, and only one worked. But I still want to use it. So I'll talk to the people that look after the YouTube channel and say, just put it out there and see what you think. Try to listen to what he says, because it is fascinating about the mental side of things in football. So there is all that I want to talk to you about, and there is, of course, Griezmann, if you want a little bit of that before I go, because I have to go. Sky Sports News are coming over to the hotel, and not to go to the swimming pool, but to actually talk some more. Anyway, yeah, I am in my own shadow. That's me. That's me too. Anyway, Griezmann. It's not that he's made his mind up, and he will, and he tries to do it before the World Cup. Oh, see? This is Gary Cottrell, who is from Sky Sports News, who probably is here. So I'll finish this and then I'll have to go meet him. Now, Griezmann has not made a decision, and he's not sure what to do. His camp is saying, oh, but he was thinking of staying at Atletico Madrid, but the whistles have changed things around. That's what also Atletico Madrid are saying. And the players of Atletico Madrid felt that he had made his mind up, but I'm not sure he has. It's either Atletico Madrid or Barcelona. And Barcelona think that they convinced him. And that's where we stand. Both Luis Suarez and Messi have said publicly it would be great if he comes. And now Griezmann has to make his mind up. He will earn less at Barcelona. That's Gary again. Just hold on. Gary! I'm all right. Are you at the hotel? Okay, by the pool. I'll come down in 2 minutes. I'm with you. Okay, cheers. So I have to go. Anyway, so yeah, that's the decision that Griezmann has to make. He hasn't made it up yet, but as I say, Barcelona believe that he actually has made it, and well, that he actually will come to Barcelona. So they're waiting to see, and they want an answer soon, because hang on, Gary, Gary Cottrell. But Barcelona wants a decision soon because otherwise they'll have to put that money and that interest and that effort somewhere else. Anyway, I have to go now, but keep in touch. There'll be other stuff happening in the YouTube channel. And of course, there's a World Cup. I'll be in Moscow for 5 weeks. So there'll be a lot of chances to talk some more. I'll have to go. See you later. Now, I've done this, switching it off from the phone, but I'm not sure I've done it. Let's see, from the... wow, hold on. I mean, I have just to switch it off, basically. I think that's something like hold on.